Hot summer night for baseball this Friday night as we welcome you to Miller Park in our coverage of Brewers baseball here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. The Miami Marlins and your Milwaukee Brewers. A different type of fish fry, if you will. Tonight, Kyle Lohse on the hill against Jacob Turner. Kyle Lohse hoping to get the Brewers off to the great second half start. That's what they're pushing for as he kicks off the second half for the Milwaukee Brewers here tonight. Mark Duchamp, Jerry Augustine back on board with you here. And, of course, just a few days ago, the All-Star break in New York City, Mariano Rivera stealing the spotlight, really almost away from two Milwaukee Brewers when he made his final entrance, baseball's all-time saves leader, to his famous Sandman last time on that national stage. What a humbling experience.
You know, there's certain events that we see in our lifetime that produce the history of baseball. This was one of those times. Mario Rivera, one of the all-time great relief pitchers in all of baseball, maybe the best in all of baseball. And for Jean Segura and Carlos Gomez to have that opportunity to be a part of that has to be very special.
Well, they both grounded out in that eighth inning, but what a thrill it was in many ways for Gomez.
It's a really cool experience, especially like after the at bat. I'm thinking like, oh, Mariano gonna have me on tape, and he's out forever because I'm the last out for the All-Star, and he last All-Star in his career. I think he's gonna have that tape, and I'm gonna be the last out forever. You know, it's fun to thinking, and you know, in the honor first Mariano, one of the best closing of the game, great gentleman and great person, and the people gonna respect now when he play and after when he retire.
Well, the return of another All-Star, Ryan Braun, looks to be a permanent fixture in that Brewer lineup in the second half. BA and Rock explain when we come back.
Presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota. Let's go places. And by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Friday night in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And yeah, we brought a little bit of that South Florida heat here. The Miami Marlins in town. The roof is open, sun setting. It's a great night for baseball. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. Hope you had a great all-star break. Got 2 all-stars in there, and Gene Segura and Carlos Gomez. And now it's time to get back to work. And getting back to work has been the story today for the Brewers, especially with their former all-star Ryan Braun. 58 games, Rock, but he's been playing hurt most of the year.
Yeah, and again, Ryan Braun only 1 game in about a month and a half. June 9th, he went on the disabled list for that thumb problem. He came back for 1 game and then had to leave the team on the bereavement list, a family emergency back in California. But the Brewers have had a difficult time scoring runs. Braun's been out. Ramirez has been out a lot. Corey Hart has not played a game this year. So hopefully, with the presence of Ryan Braun in that lineup, and he just gives you a different look no matter what he does out there. So hopefully that's going to inspire some offense for this ball club.
All right, Ryan Braun back in the lineup. Kyle Lohse on the mound tonight. Jacob Turner for the Marlins. Game 1 coming up next. He's got a big weapon in his lineup tonight as Ryan Braun returns from the bereavement list. And he is back in the starting lineup tonight and hitting in his customary 3rd spot, playing left field. Good to see Braun back. Kyle Lohse matching up against Mike Redmond's Miami Marlins. Redmond, former big league catcher in his first season as the Marlins skipper. They're coming off a very good month of June where they were actually 5 games over 500. And here's his Piggly Wiggly batting order. You got Ruggiano, Polanco, and Giancarlo Stanton at the top. Morrison, Ozuna, and Dietrich in the middle. Echeverria, Mathis, and Turner round it out.
And Kyle Lohse making start number 19 tonight. He's got a .367 earned run average, a 5-7 record. Pick up a loss his last time out against the Arizona Diamondbacks. You can see Lohse walks, 19 walks, 19 home runs. That's been a bit of a problem for Lohse, a home run ball, including his last start against Arizona. Gave up 3 of them.
Well, let's take a look at what Lohse has done lately here. His last 9 games, that includes his last start against the Diamondbacks when he took that loss. But Rock, overall, he's been pretty good since he got over the hamstring and the elbow tightness.
Yeah, it's been the sinker. The sinker and the off speed has been very good. It depends on the type of lineup, whether it goes to the curveball, the changeup. We'll see what he decides to go with tonight.
4-man umpiring crew in place. Tony Randazzo will call the balls and strikes. Larry Vanover, Brian Gorman, and Manny Gonzalez on the bases. There's Brian Gorman. He's the crew chief tonight. beautiful night for baseball. Warm, but good baseball weather. Temperature's supposed to cool off tonight, we understand. As the Marlins are in town, the second half begins right now on the first ball swing of Justin Ruggiano. Sends one down into the corner in right field and just out of the reach of Nori Aoki. Now, Rock, let's check the Brewers defensively tonight. Good to see Ryan Braun back in left field.
Yeah, the Menards Brewers defense. Braun, Gomez, Aoki in the outfield. Gomez, Sakura, all-stars this year. Bianchi gets to start at third base. Ramirez is due to come off on Monday, but it remains to see whether that's going to happen. Weeks, Francisco, and Jonathan Lucroy behind home plate.
So Braun was placed on the disabled list retroactive to June 9th. He played in just one game. That was on July 9th. And then went on the bereavement list prior to that series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Did not play in that 4-game series. We're happy to report that the situation at home, the medical situation at home with a family member has been resolved, and things are much better now, according to Ryan. And we're happy to hear that, and he was very thankful for the support and the well wishes. And the plan is, Ron Renicky was telling us earlier that he'll probably play tonight and tomorrow, and then he would most likely get Sunday off, but it all depends on how he comes back. He's missed all of this time, 26 games in all when you count up even the days he wasn't available with that right thumb injury. And Rocky's really only played in 6 innings since June 9th.
Did not pick up a bat. You know, he left the ball club before it took off to Arizona. Did not really do much, you know, during the All-Star break, attending to family issues, and he's got to get back into shape at some point. So it's going to be a bit.
Now Kyle Loesch matching up against Justin Ruggiano. Count goes full. Marlins are a much better ball club with some of their big pieces back, namely Giancarlo Stanton and Logan Morrison. There's a bouncer to third, right to Bianchi, who makes the play for the out. And that's how the night begins for Kyle Loesch.
I mentioned that in that start against the Diamondbacks, he retired the first 14 in a row, then gave up a home run, and things kind of spiraled out of control for Loesch a little bit. Gave up a 3-run inning. But you're right. I mean, he's been throwing the baseball well, keeping the ball down, mixing his pitches extremely well, and he's been throwing the baseball like the guy the Brewers thought they were going to get when they picked him up.
Loesch facing Placido Polanco, veteran infielder, getting the start at third base tonight. Now Loesch, and you look at his numbers in the month of May, it certainly indicates that he was not pitching at 100%. He never made much of it. He did talk about his hamstring was a little tight. You would see him not running out ground balls when he was batting. But he never really talked about the elbow much and the tightness in the elbow. And he said he's dealt with it before. And coming out of spring training, remember, he only had the one start. He basically had an entire spring that was self-motivated. He had to prepare on his own. He was pitching against college teams and came out of the gates, wanted to impress his new club. And he pitched well in the month of April. But once he got into May, you could tell that he was dealing with a couple of injuries as Polanco lines one to left, a base hit.
Well, Kyle Loesch, pretty standard mechanics when you look at his delivery. Yeah, very deliberate in the beginning. Nice pause at the top, and not a very long stride, which allows him to get sink on his fastball as long as he stays on top. And that pitch right there ended up as a base hit, left it upstairs a little bit.
And the two big bats in this lineup that Loesch will have to be careful with coming up now, Giancarlo Stanton and then Logan Morrison. Stanton with 10 homers, 27 runs batted in. And don't be fooled by the numbers. They're still good at this time of the year, but Stanton has only played in 51 games. It's been a similar kind of season that Ryan Braun has had with the Brewers. He's been in and out of the lineup. He missed a month with a hamstring injury and returned in early June, the first week of June, and he's been in the lineup ever since.
And he came back off the disabled list when the Brewers were in Miami, as well as Logan Morrison. Both of them came off the deal at the same time, and
You talk to these folks that follow this team, they'll tell you that the offense has been much better since they've been in the lineup every day.
There's a strike on the corner to Stanton. He's been an all-star. Stanton, he can hit him as far as anyone in the game. He's one of those premium athletes that you just don't see very often in the game of baseball. They're good athletes in baseball, but the size, the speed, the power, the throwing arm of Giancarlo Stanton, he looks more like an NFL player than a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, when he's healthy, he can run. Still not at 100% with that hamstring problem, but yeah, when he's healthy, not much you can do out there.
Stanton was known as Mike Stanton his first couple of years in the big leagues. Changed his name to Giancarlo last year. I mean, that's his name, but he wanted to be called Giancarlo prior to last season. So it's still $1 every time you call him Mike. That ball's hit high in the air to center field, way back. Gomez at the wall, and Gomez will catch this one with his feet on the ground for out number 2.
He was kind of deking everybody. It looked like he was going to that wall ready to make a jump, and then had to come back in. It's almost as if Gomez is hoping that ball is just going to be barely over the fence so he can make a dive at it. And Giancarlo Stanton just misses this one. Even he got under it quite a bit, still able to almost get it out of here to center field.
I mean, seriously, how many players in the game can hit a ball that high and that far? That was incredible. That would have been a roof scraper and still hit it nearly 400 feet. Here's Logan Morrison. Takes strike 1 from Loesch. He's going along at a 282 clip with 4 homers, 11 runs batted in. Morrison had a terrible knee injury, at surgery this offseason, and he's had a couple of stints on the disabled list as well. This is only his 25th game of the season.
Excellent hitter. He protects Stanton pretty well in that number 4 spot. Well, the Marlins were without those 2 guys for a good stretch of the first part of the season, and because of that, they dug themselves a pretty good hole. But with them together in the lineup, had a pretty good month of June.
Broke his bat right to first base. Francisco will go to the bag, and Kyle Loesch off and running with a scoreless first. Brian Braun will bat. He hits third when we come back. Brewers coming up for the first time. His ball club will play better baseball this second half. 94 games into this, the Brewers are 18 games under 500. Here's his Piggly Wiggly batting order tonight. Aoki, Segura, and Braun at the top of the order. Lucroy, Gomez, and Francisco in the middle, with Weeks, Bianchi, and Loesch rounding it out. And that's the lineup that will face very talented young right-hander Jacob Turner.
And 9th start, he's already got a complete game. He's off to a terrific start to his season. He started out in the minor leagues after a rough spring training. 6'5", 215 pounds, Jacob Turner has allowed only 1 home run in 8 starts so far this year.
Second go around against Milwaukee. Turner gets a lot of ground balls when he's right. That sinker ball pitcher that he is. As Aoki leads off, and the first pitch is in there for a strike. Turner keeps the ball on the ground. You don't see many fly balls from him, and you certainly don't see a lot of home runs from him. I think one of the more impressive statistics on his season line, the fact he's given up 1 home run this year.
Yep, and that was to Paul Goldschmidt of the Arizona Diamondbacks back on June 17th. That is impressive.
Little tapper over to third base. Polanco will make the play, and Aoki is retired.
Well, Jacob Turner had a pretty good start going against Milwaukee. He got a no decision, but gave up only 3 earned runs in 7 innings, allowing only 5 hits. And got pulled in the game where it looked as though he could have gone a little bit further. Only had 89 pitches in that start. He was taken out. And Brewers would end up winning that ball game.
Gene Segura had a couple of hits in that game, couple of infield hits.
And check that. Actually, the Marlins would win that ball game, but Turner got a no decision.
Segura to the right side. There's Dietrich who bobbles, and Segura's in there safely. Dietrich, a converted shortstop. He's got a great arm, as you see. And that throw after the bobble just not quite there in time to get Segura.
A little bit of a tricky hop on him, but the way Segura runs, you can see Morrison try to sell it to the first base umpire, throwing it around the horn. No ruling on it quite yet, and they're going to give Segura a base hit. Looked like the Brewers got a break.
Yeah, looked like the throw beat him in our super slow-mo camera out in center field. So that will go as an infield hit for Segura. He leads the National League in that category. And that'll bring up Ryan Braun with a man on. Braun's had just 3 at-bats since June 9th. And here we are on July 19th. He got a hit in his first at-bat back on July 9th. And was starting the plan to come back and get himself into game shape. And just as the Brewers arrived into Arizona, he got the very troubling news from home and had to be placed on the bereavement list. First ball swinging, fly ball out into shallow center, and Echeverria will make the play for the out. 2 gone in the inning.
There's some very talented middle infielders as you check out the Marlins defense, about middle of the pack in the National League in fielding percentage. Echeverria and Dietrich, they're very good up the middle. Jeff Mathis, one of the better throwing catchers that you'll see, and that's the guy to be hanging the signs for Jacob Turner tonight.
And with 2 outs, here comes Jonathan Lucroy. He's probably the only guy that was disappointed the All-Star break was coming down. Everybody was looking forward to the break, but Lucroy was red hot prior to the All-Star break, and he's hoping to keep that hot bat going here in the second half. Well, he's really done a lot of damage, Lucroy, and not just hitting for average, but he's thrown up some big slugging percentage as well. He's hit 5 home runs in his last 7 games, and he's the club leader in runs batted in overall with 52.
Man, that's the thing. There's some guys that get to the All-Star break, they're red hot, they want to keep playing, but those 4 days off, you hope he's going to be able to keep his edge. On the flip side of that, you've got guys that have been scuffling that we're very much looking forward to that break. You see what he's been able to do. Pretty consistent with the home runs, but July already 5.
Now Lucroy got off to that slow start, and although he doesn't use it as an excuse or even talk much about it, the WBC probably set him back a little bit. Talking to some of his teammates and his manager Ron Renicky, he went to the WBC as a catcher, but not as the starting catcher. Matter of fact, there were 3 catchers on that club There's a strike, throw to second, and the ball gets away. And Segura's in with a stolen base.
Well, Jeff Mathis doesn't give up many stolen bases. He's one of the better throwing catchers in all of baseball. Segura with a good jump. The throw bounces, and that's why he's able to stay in there. Mathis, outstanding throw-out percentage, 61%. Almost 62%. I mean, that's unheard of. 13 out of 22.
And Segura with his 28th steal. He's been caught just 5 times. He's in scoring position for Lucroy. But Lucroy went to the WBC. He was so honored to represent his country in that competition, but he didn't play much, and he doesn't play another position. So he was strictly used as a catcher. He got in 1 start and just a handful of at-bats. So essentially he kind of sat around with Team USA, didn't get a whole lot of game activity for a couple of weeks, and said he felt like he was playing catch-up when he finally returned. And then that slow April, things started to steamroll on him, as this game will make you do every now and then.
And those 2 weeks were important for him. I mean, those were like 2 weeks into spring training and just trying to start getting his timing, and then you sit that long, it takes you a while. I mean, it's almost like you have to work double hard to get back to where you were. It took him a while, but he's back.
And he is back with a force. 2-2. Lucroy takes one off the plate. Lucroy's been able to raise his batting average to 276 starting play tonight. He bottomed out at 208 prior to that hot streak. So in 42 games, he's gone from a 208 hitter to 276, and he takes ball 4. And that gives you an idea of how good he's going at the plate.
And Jacob Turner just doesn't walk many. 17th walk this year, and 8+ starts. That pounds the strike zone. And talking to Johnny Nairn about the possible plan against Turner, attack early. I mean, a lot of times he likes to get strike 1 and then kind of mess around on the corners a little bit with his off speed. So look for the Brewers to be aggressive early in the count.
So here is Carlos Gomez. He'll hit with 2 on and 2 men out. Gomez, the club leader in home runs. Check the Powerball home run leaderboard as it stands as we open the second half today. Lucroy has 13 and Segura sitting on 11. Ryan Braun has 9 in his 58 games played. Segura takes off. Right behind him is Lucroy. The throw goes to second. Lucroy safe. A double steal.
Oh, that's a nice play by Lucroy. I mean, he had to get a very good jump, almost as good as the jump as Segura got, because you knew Mathis was going to go to second base with the trail runner being the catcher. Lucroy a decent jump, and there's no doubt in the mind of Mathis where he's throwing the baseball, but it was high. It was fortunate that that throw was off the mark a bit.
3 steals already in the inning. Lucroy's 3rd steal of the season. Segura with 2, and now Gomez, a slow roller. Cutting across is Polanco, and the throw is in time for the out. Gomez is retired, and the Brewers strand a pair. Off and running at Miller Park, 1 in the books. We head to the second.
Marlins are scoreless here in the top of the second inning here at Miller Park. Gene Segura said he had an awesome experience at the All-Star game in New York, his first selection to the All-Star team, but it was highlighted by facing the great Mariano Rivera.
You know, it was the best part in the All-Star game. You know, everybody clapped him, and his last start in the All-Star game, it was pretty good. You know, I would feel so happy, feel a little bit nervous, face him. You know, a lot of people clapped him when he went to the mouth. It was a great moment for me.
Gene said that's something he'll always remember, especially with it being Mariano Rivera's last All-Star game, and he was just thrilled to be there, and he couldn't stop talking about that experience, B.A.
Well, and you can't blame him. And if you're ever going to be ignored, it's best to be ignored when Mariano Rivera is on the mound. I mean, they made the right call because of Rivera's last All-Star appearance. But Segura and Gomez were both a part of it, and maybe, well, probably, most likely, unless something drastic happens, that'll be Rivera's last out in an All-Star game with Gomez at the plate.
Well, it certainly won't be, Segura and Gomez's last opportunity to get to that game. And yeah, great experience. It always is. I never actually made one, but they say there's nothing like it to be in that clubhouse with all the best in the business. And Gene Segura, Carlos Gomez amongst that group.
Marcell Ozuna strikes out. Loesch got him to chase. And Ozuna is Kyle Loesch's first strikeout victim. And that will be in our head and shoulders with tonight. Looked like he got him on the cut fastball.
Yep, right off the outside corner. Ozuna swings and misses. So both of these guys are going to try to attack the strike zone early in the count. First, second pitch, and then try to get hitters to chase. The more patient team will probably be the team that ends up with the most success.
Here's Derek Dietrich, a talented shortstop in college at Georgia Tech. Originally drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays, now playing second base for the Marlins. Bouncer to Francisco, hangs in there on a tough hop, and there is out number 2.
And the Brewers hope the San Diego Padres in a 4-game series this Monday through Thursday. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com.
Yeah, looking forward to that. A 4-game series with the Padres.
Thursday day game here at Miller Park.
That's right. Got a matinee coming up on the homestand. Then the Brewers will hit the road, headed to Colorado and Chicago. So this will be a 7-day homestand in all. 3 against the Marlins, 4 against the Padres.
Been nice getting used to the house again. 4-day All-Star break and then a 7-game homestand. Feels good.
Danny Echeverria, talented young shortstop for the Marlins. Our friends from Marlins Television are here, and check it out. Rich Walton, it's Preston Wilson's birthday today.
Yeah, so the Italian wishing him a happy birthday.
Nice.
Very nice.
We aim to please here in Milwaukee, don't we? Echeverria singles to right. He's been a hot hitter in the month of July, as a batting average over 400 this month.
And you see why. I mean, taking the ball to the opposite field, more of a pull conscious hitter early in the season, but they've been working with him, working on his approach, and he shoots that pitch right into right field. Well done. No real surprise when a guy's been swinging the bat as well as he has. You can't put an average together over 400 for a good stretch by pulling everything.
Tino Martinez, the Marlins hitting coach, first year on the job with the Marlins, replacing Eduardo Perez.
Really good situation for a guy, a young coach that wants to try and make an impact and teach some of the fundamentals of hitting. This is a very young offensive team, these Marlins. Very impressionable. They're willing to learn.
So much so that this hitter at the plate, Jeff Mathis, he's the only player under a free agent contract for next season. He's the only one. Everybody else, if you're in the free agent portion of your career, your contract is up, or if you're young enough to still be part of the club as far as pre-arbitration or then in arbitration. So you start when you first come up to the big leagues, you're in pre-arbitration for 3 years, and then you're arbitration eligible for the next 3. So essentially 6 years for most players. That's how young they are, that they don't have any free agent contracts after this season other than this guy, Mathis.
And not a bad guy to have. I mean, particularly when you have a young starting rotation, your pitching staff's relatively young. This guy is very good defensively.
Ball and 2 strikes. And that one's lined into left field, base hit. So back-to-back hits with 2 outs. And that will bring the pitcher, Jacob Turner, to the plate.
And Mathis stayed back nicely on that curveball that time from Kyle Lohse. Hooked it into left field. Hetzemaria hit a fastball. There's that curveball, the spin, that rotation. Left it up in the strike zone, and Mathis hits it hard into left field.
So here is the Marlins pitcher who has 2 hits this year. He's 2 for 17. One of those hits was a triple. I think when you look at the Marlins contract situation with all the players that they have and all these young guys coming up from the minor leagues, they feel like they put some posts in the ground with a couple of players in Stanton and Morrison, and Turner certainly one of those as he bounces out, and Lohse giving up 2 2-out hits but a scoreless second inning.
Baseball after the All-Star break. A scoreless game going here as we head to the bottom of the second, and it's now just a 68-game season for the Brewers. But after the All-Star break, why not take a look back at some of the first half highlights? So tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll, we're asking Brewers fans to weigh in on which first half highlight is most important for the second half. The All-Star duo of Carlos Gomez and Jean Segura, tonight's starter Kyle Lohse and his 11 quality starts, the bullpen, which has been fantastic, and the debuts of several guys with so many injuries. More of guys like Logan Schaefer, Sean Halton, Juan Francisco, Scooter Gennett. There have been so many this year, guys. So Brewers fans, weigh in. You can tweet us at FS Wisconsin. And BA, there are some silver linings despite a tough first half for the crew.
Yep, and it has to be that way. You have to look forward, and you allow some opportunities. And that was the best part of that whole segment, Sophia. That is, man, that looks good. Will Brisket, I love it. Yeah. The great eats here at Miller Park. Always part of the fun coming to this ballpark. I noticed Adam Richman is here from the Travel Channel.
Yeah, Pandemonium, Man versus Food, all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, they're here shooting an episode of an upcoming show. I'm not sure when it's going to air, but he's here all weekend, and they're going to be out in the parking lots. And
Pandemonium is, I think, the name of the show. They're going to go around different sports venues and talk about and get up close and personal with some of the tailgating. There's Adam Richman right there. Well, that's not him.
That's Juan Francisco.
That's Juan Francisco. I'm sure he can eat, but there he is, right there.
He's got the full crew here. Got to keep the star well groomed.
Well, he's got a lot of folks around him.
Looks like he's already developed a tailgating stain. And he threw the first pitch out here tonight.
Well, he hasn't eaten since threw out that first pitch. He might be getting a little bit ornery. You ever see him eat? Wow.
You got to get the stain out, though. Although I think for his show, I mean, a stain on the shoulder or on the belly, that's all part of the gig, right?
He's upset about the stain, I guess. I don't know.
He's just concentrating.
He's getting like he does. I mean, you got to expect to have a little bit something fall on you.
He's getting in character. Francisco bounces one to first. That's fair. And Morrison will flip it on to his pitcher Turner for out number 1.
The old man versus food. I always enjoy the episodes where he's eating the spicy stuff.
Yeah.
He starts crying and can't talk and pounding his fist on the table. It's kind of like me in the press room.
Yeah, I feel like you're man versus food a lot. You're kind of our version of Adam Richman.
Yeah.
So 1 gone, and here is Ricky Weeks. Yeah, Miller Park was busy during the All-Star break. The Paul McCartney concert, a huge success. What a great show McCartney put on, we were told. Had a packed house. Good to see Miller Park all full for the All-Star break. It was actually Tuesday night.
71 years old, Paul McCartney. He sang for 3 hours.
Yeah, they said he 3 hours straight.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's the second concert at Miller Park this year. They had the Kenny Chesney concert earlier in the season. And we tip our hat to the Brewers grounds crew. Doing a great job keeping the field major league condition. Justin Scott and his gang working a lot of hours during the All-Star break, making sure the field recovered from the concert.
And the concert was Tuesday. Here we are Friday, and the place looks pretty good.
You see where the stage was set up. Just a slight discoloration, but all the grass is good and stable, and a lot of the outfielders were out earlier today just making sure the footing was proper, and checked out thumbs up from everybody. So good job by Justin Scott and his gang, who don't get enough credit.
Well, you're talking about a 24-hour-a-day job, right? Keeping this place ready to go every day.
Weeks foul tips one into the mid of Mathis for a strikeout. And Turner has his first K. 2 up and 2 down here in the second inning.
And one of those two-seam fastballs, you can see Turner getting on top of it. It sinks as it gets to home plate. And Ricky over the top.
2 gone, and that'll bring up Jeff Bianchi. He gets a call at third base again tonight. Aramis Ramirez still on the disabled list with a knee injury. And on the first pitch, Bianchi shoots one into left field, a base hit. And the second hit for the Brewers, the first that has made it to the outfield.
There you go. First pitch fastball. I mean, that's, I think, the plan for the Brewers. If they get a pitch they like, a fastball in, four-seamer. Trying to get ahead in the count, and got his base hit.
Now Bianchi getting his 9th start at third base this year. Here's Kyle Lohse now with 2 away. Ron Renicky told us earlier that Aramis Ramirez, while eligible to return on Monday, is going to be questionable to make that return date. That left knee still giving him some trouble. Hoping to return by the end of the homestand. We'll see. Homestand ends on Thursday. Ramos has been busy with his rehab. He spent a lot of time with the athletic trainers. It's a lot of hard work and isolation to try to come back from an injury. Second time he's been on the DL with that left knee injury.
And we touched on it when we came on the air tonight. The big bats that the Brewers have been without. I mean, not just all year, but for the last month. Ramirez out on the disabled list. Ryan Braun out. Corey Hart won't get in that bat all year. That makes it very difficult to score runs.
Well, the homestand ending Thursday afternoon, and Ramirez hopeful to come back. As Lowe strikes out, and the inning ends. Brewers get a 2-out single, a couple of strikeouts for Turner. No score as we head to the third.
Brewers and Marlins. I'm Telly Hughes, joined by Brewers Chief Operating Officer Rick Schlesinger, who is here to tell us some really cool things happening this weekend here at Miller Park. First off, with the throwback uniforms honoring the Negro Leagues tomorrow.
Right, the 1923 Milwaukee Bears, the Negro League team entry that year. Brewers are going to be donning those uniforms, the pinstripe with the Bears. The Marlins are going to be wearing jerseys from the 1950s. With the number 29 to honor Satchel Paige, who actually pitched for the Marlins minor league team back in the 1950s and had a pretty good few years with them. So kind of a fun game. Tribute. Proceeds from the sale of uniforms go to the Negro Leagues Museum. So we're raising some money for a good cause. Also a big anniversary for the Brewers mascot, Bernie the Brewer. Right. It's 40th anniversary of Bernie. He's ageless, so he's not 40, but it's the 40th anniversary of him being part of the Brewers family. So on August 18th, a few weeks away, we're going to have free ice cream, hot dogs, and sodas for the kids, 16 and under. So Telly, you and I are ineligible. We got to pay. But it'll be kind of fun. We'll have a big birthday card where fans can write messages to Bernie. Just kind of a fun thing. He's an icon. He gets lost in the shadow of the sausages, but this is his time and his day. So you think we can figure out the secret to stay young like Bernie? Well, a lot of padding and a good contract. Thanks for your time, Rick. All right, Telly. All right, B.A., back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Telly. I don't know about Rick, but I know for a fact Telly Hughes has never paid for ice cream in this ballpark, ever. Talk about man versus food now.
Yeah, he's locked in. He's dialed into all that goes on around here.
The people's champion, Telly Hughes, as Loesch picks up a strikeout, punches out Ruggiano. His second K in the first out of the third inning. Well, this year, Fox Sports Supports is proud to partner with Stomp Out Bowling, the leading national anti-bullying organization for kids and teens in the United States. Stomp Out Bowling focuses on preventing bullying and all forms of digital abuse. It educates against racism and hatred, deters violence in schools and online, and helps at-risk students. To learn how you can help, please visit stompoutbowling.org. Strike one to Placido Polanco. Marlins with 3 hits, all singles. 2 of them came with 2 outs last inning. Polanco had the other one. He had the first one. Veteran infielder and one of the few veteran players on this roster for the Miami Marlins. He's a curve buster on the average age. It's a very young team, but they have guys like Polanco and Greg Dobbs
and Juan Pierre. He's been around a while. But you got to have those kind of guys to you know, kind of bring some of the new players along. As long as they're good guys in the clubhouse, which you know Dobbs is. Juan Pierre has got a great reputation, and Polanco kind of mentoring these young players.
There's Juan Pierre. Placido Polanco now 37 years of age. He had a nice run with the Phillies. Gets jammed here, pops it up to Weeks. And there is out number 2 for Kyle Lohse. Lohse had great success against the Marlins last year. As a matter of fact, he won the first ever game at Marlins Park while pitching for the Cardinals. He beat Miami 3 times last season. 3 of his 16 wins came against the Marlins.
And 3-0 with a 2.08 earned run average last year. He's 5-2 overall, making his first start against the Fish this year.
Two outs. Giancarlo Stanton at the plate. Almost hit one out his last time up. Hit a rainmaker that Gomez caught about a step in front of the wall in center field.
And he looked a little disappointed that he didn't have to jump.
He was hoping for a 5th home run saving catch. He's had 4 this year. One of them saved a game when he robbed Joey Votto of a home run, the last out of a game. That preserved a victory for Kyle Lohse. No other player in the big leagues has more than 2. Gomez has done it 4 times where he has pulled home runs back. Stan with a swing and a miss. A slider from Lohse. He strikes out Giancarlo Stanton. A couple of Ks in the inning. Segura will bat second when we come back. Is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic, don't just live, shine. No score as we head to the bottom of the third. Beautiful Miller Park with its spacious concourses and its outstanding team store. That's just one of a couple spots you can buy all the great merchandise. Nori Aoki leading all for the Brewers as we begin play in the bottom of the third inning. No score here. Loesch retiring the side in order in the top of the third. Aoki, Segura, and Braun, first three up. Had a good chance to see and say hello to Darryl Hamilton.
Yep,
former Brewer. Yeah, up in the booth for
a lot of fun.
A moment.
Working for the MLB Network now. Used to be in the commissioner's office. So Darryl's still in the game, and he's kind of responsible for Adam Richmond. I saw wherever you saw Adam Richmond, you saw Darryl Hamilton.
Oh, he's got a handler, a former big leaguer.
I don't know. I think Darryl's part of the show, but always a lot of fun. Darryl Hamilton.
Now he's doing a great job on MLB Network, transitioning nicely to the broadcasting world. 2-2 to Aoki, and shoots that one foul in the seats. Hope everybody's all right. It's incredible how Aoki can hit a foul ball where he hit it. I mean, it's amazing. It's like a cricket swing where it's just a glancing blow,
and he does it all the time.
Two to Aoki. And the count goes full.
And me and Darryl Hamilton were teammates back in '88 with the Brewers, and spent some good time with him.
A great base stealer in his day. As a matter of fact, Jean Segura is on a pace to steal 40 this year. He's got a chance at that. Darryl Hamilton, one of 5 Brewers to steal 40 or more bases in a season, as Aoki draws the walk. And that'll bring up Segura. And what a first half. Jean Segura has posted an all-star for the first time in his first full season in the big leagues, and the numbers jump off the page, and you can add 2 stolen bases to his line tonight.
Yep, and you never knew what you had going in. I mean, you knew he had a good defender going into spring training, but after winning that batting title down in Winterball, and he just continued that confidence and success in the beginning of the season, and no one has been more consistent on this ball club in all facets of the game than Jean Segura.
Squares to bunt, gets one down foul. Does that very well as well.
And just the energy that he brings to the ball club. I mean, both of the All-Stars this year, Segura, Carlos Gomez, I mean, every single day in the lineup, they're doing something to try to energize this team, whether it be on the bases or defensively at the plate. I mean, they have been good catalyst all season for this club.
And it certainly gives you hope moving forward for this ball club. Hoping to play good baseball the rest of the season, try to get things turned around, just get a good feeling coming back. You might remember last year the Brewers in early August were 12 games under 500. Actually, midway through August, 12 under. And they finished over 500. That's hard to do, but you'd like to be able to have something to springboard you into spring training and next season. And I know Ron Roenicke's been very disappointed, frustrated, angry about the way the first half has gone, the way the team has played. Certainly nothing you can do about all the injuries that have happened, and a lot of production out of the lineup.
And there's nothing you can do about the record that they have coming into the second half. I mean, you just got to forget about that. You have to try and do the best you can to play good, consistent baseball the rest of the way. And that's the job of this club going forward this year.
Segura swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes. He rarely does that.
That is a nasty sinker from Jacob Turner. And check out this pitch as it gets to home plate. It just kind of drops off the table. Going down and in on Segura, takes the big swing and comes up empty. That's a heck of a pitch. 91 miles an hour with that kind of movement going down.
One gone with Aoki at first base for Ryan Braun now, who swung at the first pitch and popped it up to the shortstop back in the first inning. Braun did not play against the Marlins in Miami. That was right about the time that the thumb just got too much to bear for Ryan Braun. Played his college ball at Miami, former Hurricane, and had a lot of people there to see him play, but he wasn't able to go. That ball is hit in the air to center. Coming in is Ozuna. And there is out number 2. So Braun is 0 for 2. And that'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy now. Been on a home run binge lately. Jonathan Lucroy, his Powerball home run count now at 13. After a couple of shots against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, hit one on Saturday, a 2-run home run. Lucroy is, they come in bunches for most hitters, and Lucroy right now, except for the All-Star break, in one of those stretches where a ball just flying out of the ballpark for him.
And like all good hitters, Lucroy made it a point to remind us that his home runs don't come until he starts thinking about line drives up the middle. Think line drives up the middle, and he was hitting a lot of balls up the middle and to right center. And then sure enough, pitcher started moving more inside on Lucroy, trying to challenge him in there, and he was able to pull the baseball.
Like that right there. That's exactly what you're talking about. When you show pitchers and organizations that you play, you're going to go to the opposite field. They're going to start challenging you inside. And there's a nice catch out there in the stands and left.
Veteran catcher Jeff Mathis behind the plate. Doesn't move into position until the last moment, so as not to tip off the location of the pitch. Lucroy back up the middle, right on cue.
You saw the location of the pitch. Middle in. Lucroy pulls the hands in, and the knob of the bat leads the barrel of the bat through the strike zone. And check it out. Watch the knob of the bat. You can see it. That leads the bat through the hitting zone, and the belt buckle opens up, and hips and hands. That's the way you hit. And I wish I could have done that back in the day.
He is in a tremendous groove right now. Took a very close pitch to draw a walk in the first. Now he singles with 2 strikes. And 2 men aboard for Carlos Gomez. Gomez, on the other hand, is mired in a long slump at the plate. 0 for 1 at the All-Star game. 2 for his last 34. And he has seen his batting average drop from 320 to 294 at the plate. One of those 2 hits, a home run.
Check out Lucroy. I mean, he's just dead on looking at Aoki to see if he's going to get a jump.
Now the Brewers executed a double steal in the first inning. Very similar scenario, but it was Segura as the lead runner.
Got a lot of trust in your first base coach, Garth Orrs, to make sure that Morris is not going to come in behind you, because he's really not too much worried about that first base. We got a nice lead.
Gomez down on strikes. Chased a breaking ball. So twice the Brewers have stranded a couple of base runners. Still scoreless at Miller Park. Baseball's long-standing commitment to raising awareness of ALS. Major League Baseball and all 30 clubs are once again teaming up for ALS. Earlier tonight, the Brewers hosted the ALS Association Wisconsin chapter with their second annual Chasing a Cure tailgate party. The ALS Wisconsin chapter strives to improve the quality of life of ALS patients and their families by providing much-needed equipment, resource guidance, and support services. Great time had by all. Brewers pitcher Jim Henderson was out there taking part. And it's an honor to have him, and it's a dreadful disease. And
yeah, I have a good buddy back in the East Coast that's battling that right now, and it's a horrible thing to go through. Not just for the victim, but the families as well.
Top of the fourth inning here at Miller Park. Logan Morrison leading off. Morrison, Ozuna, and Derek Dietrich. First three up for the Marlins. Kyle Lohse coming off a 3-up, 3-down inning with a couple of strikeouts. Lohse has given up 3 hits, all of them singles. And Morrison takes a called strike. 2-2 the count.
That's about as perfectly throwing a fastball as you can have right there, right on the outside corner at the knees.
See what Lohse has in mind for him on a 2-2 count. Morrison in the air to center field. Gomez easing his way back, and he's got it for the out. Tell you what, you can just almost write in an F8 when Gomez goes about his business out there. Mike Cameron was a great center fielder, but Gomez he's right there with him.
There's nobody better in all of baseball.
Got a Carsoup.com email the booth question, Rock, from Tim. He wants to know, are there any memorable second half highlights from your career?
Well, the greatest one, I mean, I wasn't involved, but I was personally, I witnessed it. I was on the team when Paul Molitor had his 39-game hitting streak. It started in the first game back from the All-Star break and went 39 games. That was something special to watch.
Well, there's been a lot of second half highlights as far as the tenure at Miller Park. Of course, 2008. That stacks up there among the best. And remember, the Brewers actually acquired CC Sabathia right before the All-Star break. He made 2 starts before the break, and then he got on a great run in the second half. I thought last year's comeback was pretty impressive.
Yes, it was.
In the second half.
Everybody gave up on the Brewers under 500, ended up making a run at the wild card, and it just came up a little bit short and ran out of steam, but that was a nice second half for the crew.
Brewers went from being 12 games under 500 in August, and they got within a game and a half of the second wild card spot by September in about a month's time, and they finished with a 500 record. They're going to have to go a little bit this year to break 500. They're 18 under starting play tonight. Full count to Marcell Ozuna. He's one of the young players that earned his spot on this roster while Giancarlo Stanton was out with a hamstring injury. Center field, Gomez back at the track, and he's got room for this one. 2 outs. Gomez has been busy tonight. Well, get ready for Fox Sports 1. It's coming fast. America's new 24-hour sports network. Ready to debut August 17th. Great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, all the shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. It's America's new sports network. It's Fox Sports 1, and it's coming August 17th. Derek Dietrich takes strike 1 from Lohse. Dietrich off the end of the bat. Aoki playing very deep, but there, and 3 fly ball outs for Kyle Lohse, and he's retired 7 straight. Brewers coming up, no score.
It's the 40th anniversary of Bernie Brewer. Bring the family out to Miller Park August 16th through the 18th for birthday weekend at Bernie's, presented by Southwest Airlines. Visit Brewers.com/Bernie40 for details.
Got a big birthday card there, Rock.
Yeah, that's it. You go on out there and write a nice message to Bernie. I bet Bernie's scuffling in this heat.
A little bit.
You know, with the big mustache.
He's aging fast.
You know, on that Sunday, kids eat free and party on the plaza. There's a giant card on the field lever that you just saw. You can sign now through August 18th.
Okay.
It's out there, and come on out and write a nice message for Bernie.
Right. Praise in public, criticize in private.
How could you not like Bernie Brewer?
I mean, with a mustache like that.
Friday, get a free can koozie, first 20,000 fans. And on Saturday, Southwest Airlines has ticket giveaways.
It's been a year of anniversaries for the Brewers mascots. Bernie 40, the famous Racing Sausages celebrating their 20th anniversary.
Right.
It's been quite exciting off the field.
Yes, it has.
This year. Have you had anything special to report other than your dramatic weight loss?
That's about it. That's taking up pretty much all my time. Figuring out ways to stay away out of the refrigerator.
The flip side of man versus food. The psychological battle that it is.
It is, too.
You're doing good, man. Back to your playing weight almost.
I think I'm done. I'm going to go ahead in the other direction soon.
Yeah, when you start getting lightheaded every day, you might want to start up the intake a little.
By the end of the season, I'll be up 10. Nah, just kidding.
Full count. Jacob Turner matching up against Juan Francisco to start this 4th inning. That ball is hit in the air to left. Got a chance. That is way back. Ruggiano looks up, and there it goes. Juan Francisco with an opposite field home run. That is number 12 for Francisco, and the Brewers are on the board first tonight. 1-0 Crew in the 4th inning.
Boy, how strong is Juan Francisco? He didn't even get extension on that. Fastball by Turner. Hit it back in the zone. He hit it in the second deck over the Fridays. Check it out. Didn't quite get it. He got back in the zone, but Francisco certainly strong enough. Didn't get it quite on the sweet spot. Pretty close, and That just muscled out of the ballpark. Second deck up there. Wow. Another opposite field home run for Juan Francisco, and that I would imagine puts a big smile on Johnny Naren's face. And it's a rarity for Turner to give up home runs. It's only his second one this year.
It's an amazing stat. That he'd go the entire season leading up to tonight with just one allowed. That was back in mid-June, and now Francisco gets him second allowed this year. 1-0 Crew. Francisco has a couple of home runs against the Marlins. One of those came as a tape measure shot, a 500-foot home run against Miami in Miami when he was playing for the Atlanta Braves. So 12 home runs for the year for Francisco. As a Brewer, that is number 7.
He really is flattening out that swing and putting a pretty good approach in the baseball.
Two balls, no strikes on Weeks, and he takes one in there from Jacob Turner. Turner last time against Weeks struck him out. Former first rounder Jacob Turner by the Tigers. That was back in 09. He was the 9th pick overall out of high school in the St. Louis area and signed a major league contract, a 4-year major league contract out of high school as Weeks draws the walk. Turner unusually wild tonight. That's his 3rd walk issued in this game.
Yeah, tonight's time of the game winner is the Last Chance Saloon in Judah, Wisconsin, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. The Last Chance Saloon gets 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to the Brewers home game this year. It's offered courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
And a man at first for Jeff Bianchi, who swung at the first pitch his last time up. He singled to left. Now, when the Marlins started trading away most of their heavy contract players, and that started last season, Turner was part of it. He was a prospect in the Tigers organization, one of their top pitching prospects. As Bianchi lifts one out to Ruggiano in left field for out number 1. That was right before the trade deadline last year. It was on July 23rd that the Marlins traded away Omar Infante and Anibal Sanchez to the Tigers, and they proved to be key cogs in that World Series run for Detroit last year. Marlins got Turner and Brian Flynn, who's in the minor leagues, and Rob Brantley, who is one of their backup players, a catcher, and a draft pick for that trade. So essentially 4 players once the draft pick was consummated for the 2 big leaguers that were key pieces for Jim Leyland's pennant winning Tigers last year, Infante and Anibal Sanchez. Sanchez would go on to sign a long-term deal with the Tigers. There goes the runner Weeks, and Loesch fouls that one off the ground and then off his head.
I tell you, Weeks had a great jump. There's no way Mathis was going to have a chance to get Ricky. That's one of those that if you have the presence of mind to take, Ricky's going to steal that easily. Fake bump and slash, and Loesch got it right off the side of the head.
You can see the mark it left right on his cheekbone. You wonder if he's having trouble with his eye. Looks like it's swelling pretty quickly. As he bunts right through that one, he's really being bothered by that foul ball off the cheek.
Yeah, it's right up by the eye socket. Yeah.
That's why you got to have a good cut man in that dugout to keep the swelling down. Ice pack coming. Weeks takes off, and Loesch takes the pitch. Throw to second is late. Everybody falling down. Loesch, Mathis was trying to get an interference call. But when it's all said and done, it's just a straight steal at second base, and Ricky Weeks is in scoring position.
And 4 stolen bases on Jeff Mathis already in this ball game, and that's highly unusual. Not sure there's contact made. Loesch is sprawled out over home plate, but no call made.
2-2. Loesch has 2 RBIs this year, and he shoots one to right field. That is slicing, and it is foul. Not by much. That was close.
Garth Orr jumping up and down, and he thought that one might have been a fair ball. You don't see that kind of reaction out of Garth very often. Ron Roenicke wants to have a chat with Larry Vanover.
Close.
Hard to tell from there, but Stanton wasn't sure. You could see his reaction. Stanton thought that might have been a fair ball. He threw it in pretty quickly. Any part of the ball hits any part of the line, it's a fair ball.
There's a painted line down there at that point, so you don't see the splash like chalk would give you. Loesch breaks his bat, and in foul territory, Polanco makes the play. That was a painful at bat for Loesch. Not only does he have the sting in his hands, but he's got a little knot developing under his right eye.
Yeah, get some ice on it and maybe get that swelling down. And
he'll be all right. 2 outs now. Top of the order. Here is Aoki. Brewers have had some chances to score. They just haven't cashed in. They've had runners in scoring position in 2 different innings. They've got one here in the 4th.
Well, they've already left 5 stranded in the first 3 innings.
Aoki walked his last time up. One of 3 walks allowed by Turner. Fastball missed. 3 balls, no strikes on Aoki. '22-year-old Jacob Turner. Well, what a future he has ahead of him. He pitches like a veteran. And Aoki draws the walk. So Turner, with his 4th walk allowed, he'll take his chances against Gene Segura now with runners at first and second, and a visit from his pitching coach, Chuck Hernandez. A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club. Beautiful night here in Milwaukee. A tad on the warm side. See a lot of fans fanning themselves, trying to keep the heat off. It's good baseball weather, though. Supposed to get a little relief from the rain tonight.
I don't mind the heat,
especially in July.
I mean, based on the kind of the spring that we had here in Milwaukee, as cold and wet as it was, I think this has been nice weather.
I'm with you. So here is Segura with a chance. 2 on, 2 out. Brewers lead 1-0. That run came earlier in this inning, a home run by Francisco, a leadoff home run to the opposite field. Pitch number 25 coming for Turner. And he's sitting at 70 here in the 4th inning. He went 7 innings against the Brewers in his only start against them back in June, but only needed 89 pitches to get through 7. Spins a breaking ball in there for a strike. Remember Bob Tewksbury?
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the comps for Jacob Turner when he was drafted in the first round of 09. Bouncing ball to second. Segura is out, and the Brewers come up empty again with runners in scoring position. But there is a tally on the board thanks to Juan Francisco. Opposite field home run, his 12th of the year, and it's 1-0 Crew.
Top of the 5th inning. Let's take a look at our Brewers minor league report. Rob Wooten, representing the Nashville Sounds at this year's PCL All-Star Game, faced one batter in that AAA All-Star Game, a ground out. This season, Wooten has 19 saves, which ranks 4th in the PCL. B.A.?
All right, Telly, thanks. Congratulations to Rob. PCL All-Star Game in Reno earlier this week. And they're back at it in AAA. They started again last night. Echeverria with his second hit. Boy, this guy is on fire at the plate, and it's bobbled in right field. And Echeverria is going to end up at second base. Aoki had all kind of trouble with that one.
That's going to be an error right there. If Noy is able to get it the first time, Echeverria certainly is going to have to stay at first base. Bobbled it once, bobbled it again, and that'll be an error on Aoki, you would think. Yep, it is. Single and an error for Echeverria, but he's in scoring position.
That's Aoki's second error of the season. Normally a very sure-handed outfielder, and a former Gold Glove winning outfielder during his time in Japan. So the tying run in scoring position. Loesch is at the bottom of his batting order, and Mathis takes ball 1. Mathis singled to left in the second inning. One of 4 hits allowed by Kyle Loesch. Echeverria has 2 of them. There's a strike. A little breaking ball in there. Ron Renneke very familiar with Jeff Mathis. They were together in Anaheim. Spent 6 years on the same ball club. Renicky is the bench coach. Mathis as the backup catcher. And he's a fan. Doesn't give you a whole lot offensively. His career batting average is under 200. But he's a fantastic defender. Typically throws runners out.
They have a tough time throwing out runners, but I don't think much of it's his fault. But handles pitchers extremely well. He's always had that kind of reputation.
Tell you what, if you're going to hit 197 for a career, you better be, as a backup catcher, a great guy, first of all, a great defender, and somebody who has a little bit of leadership and some qualities off the field, and obviously he does. And that's why the Marlins gave him a couple of years on a contract.
They bring along a young pitching staff,
and who would know that better than their manager, Mike Redmond, which was a role that he served.
And he did the same, right? Although Redmond can give you some offense. He had a pretty good stick.
One of the many former catchers managing in the big leagues. I think there are 9 of them. There's a breaking ball called. Strike 3 on the corner. That's a big strikeout for Loesch. That's his 4th. And it gives him his first out with a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, breaking ball. Looked like the slider or cutter. Catches the outside edge. And Jeff Mathis not able to advance the base runner.
The Charter high-speed pitch for these two starters today. Loesch at 91. Turner's topped out at 94. And Turner will bat with 1 away and a runner at second. Strike 1 to Turner. Bunted right through it. Interesting that Turner's trying to advance the runner to third here. Takes a ball. Gives you an idea of what Mike Redmond thinks about his bat as a hitter. You don't see pitchers very often with 1 out and a runner at second. Try to bunt a runner to third. Sometimes with first and second you do.
Yeah, just and as an attempt to advance a base runner, but more importantly stay out of a double play. Well, if they're not sure about the signs, go down there and tell them what to do verbally. You would think a pitcher would know the bunt sign, right? Forget about all the others.
That'd be the one you'd probably want to know.
That's the one you need to know.
And he swings away. Maybe he didn't know the not bunt sign. The swing away sign. Just assuming that he missed one. Third base coaches hate that, don't they? Because now you're kind of exposed on your signals. There's always eyes on the third base coaches trying to pick up something.
Yes, sir.
Bouncing ball to Segura. Turner's going to advance the runner anyway. And there is out number 2.
Hey, Sunday, August 4th, the Brewers take on the Washington Nationals at 1:10 p.m. and all fans in attendance will get a Harvey Keene bobblehead. Compliments of Capco metal stamping. Visit Brewers.com for tickets. It's the 8th of the 10 all-fan giveaway bobbleheads this year. Former Brewers manager that got the Brew Crew to the World Series back in 1982.
Harvey's Wallbangers. One of the great team nicknames ever. Ruggiano is swinging a miss. 2 outs now for Loesch. He's got a runner at third. Echeverria was at second base with nobody out, a single and an error. And Loesch trying to strand him on the base paths. Off the end of the bat. Teams don't have nicknames anymore like they used to, right? It seemed like when I was growing up.
Big Red Machine and things like that. Right?
Harvey's Wallbangers, We Are Family, Pirates.
Right, yeah, you're right.
I guess none of us are creative enough. I think that's our responsibility to nickname them, right?
Well, we have some for some teams. You just can't say them on TV.
That's a good point. Good point. Not airworthy.
Right, yeah.
Echeverria at third base. Loesch has Ruggiano with a 1-2 count, and that is on the corner. Called strike 3. Loesch rings the bell. His 5th strikeout. 2 more in the 5th inning. Ryan Braun ready to lead off. We're headed to the bottom of the 5th.
Lead as we have a rock climber out there in the dew deck. Not sure how he fared, but that's the way it goes out here at the ballpark. Hey, Packers spring training starts next week, and FoxSportsWisconsin.com is getting you ready with a position preview every weekday. Read the latest in the series as Paul Emig examines Green Bay's safeties.
How's the safety situation shaping up in your mind?
I don't know.
You're going to have to read and find out.
I'm going to have to check it out. FoxSportsWisconsin.com.
There you go. Here's Ryan Braun leading off for the Brew Crew in the bottom of the 5th inning. Braun will be followed by Lucroy and then Gomez. 1-0 Crew on a home run by Francisco. Just the 2nd homer allowed by Jacob Turner all season. Juan Francisco and Paul Goldschmidt are on his list.
Yeah. A pretty good job by Kyle Loesch, a leadoff base hit, and Eric got him to second with nobody out and able to retire the side without a run crossing home plate.
In tight, almost hit him.
See how far off the plate Ryan Braun stands, but still Turner straightens him up, keeping him off that outside corner.
I was so impressed with Braun coming back. He hadn't played in a month. And his first at bat when he came back, he singled to right field.
First pitch.
That was his only hit of the night. He was 1 for 3, played 6 innings that night, and this is his first game since that time. That was on July 9th.
I mean, I figure it's going to take him a while to get back. I mean, not even Ryan Braun could take that much time. I mean, a month and a half with 3 at bats, and he did get the base hit his first time up, but it's going to take him a few games to get dialed in. I would imagine he's going to be dialed in a lot quicker than most.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Braun. And he got him. Turner strikes him out. That heavy sinker that he throws, and that's been his pitch tonight. He's been impressive, other than the home run by Francisco.
And 4 walks on his record. That's ties the season high this year. Got the strikeouts. That power sinker has been a good pitch for him, and he made that one mistake to Juan Francisco, and he finds himself down 1-0.
Second matchup against Milwaukee this year. He took a no decision back on the 11th of June. He had a terrible spring training and was sent to AAA New Orleans. But then he got off to a great start in AAA. And then he earned a call up in late May, and he has been very good since that time. 80 pitches, 1 earned run, 4+. Turner and Jose Fernandez, the 2 building blocks for the starting rotation for the Miami Marlins. They took a lot of grief, and I think a lot of it was fair. The fact that they opened up a new stadium, then essentially traded away every recognizable player they have. Had a 12-player trade this offseason.
They've done that a number of times in their history.
Yes, they have, after their World Series in '97, their World Series victory. But these are the 2, Rock, and nobody knew their names, obviously, before the season started. They didn't know what kind of big leaguers they would be. But they have both just burst onto the scene in the major leagues, and there is a lot of hope with the Marlins moving forward with a couple of pitchers like this.
20-year-old Cuban Jose Fernandez. I mean, you talk about electric stuff. Did you see his outing in the All-Star game? I mean, just blew away the guys that he faced. I mean, Pedroia, Cabrera, Chris Davis.
Yeah, how about that? 2 MVPs and a guy who might win an MVP this year, and he wiped them out 1, 2, 3.
And a Triple Crown winner, right?
Jose Fernandez is his first All-Star game, one of the youngest All-Stars. Defected from Cuba as a teenager. Brewers will not face him in this series. He's scheduled to pitch Game 5 of this second half in Colorado, which will be Game 2 against the Rockies.
Some kind of arm he's got. Wow.
1-2 to Lucroy, and a bouncer to third. Gloved over at third base by Polanco, and a good throw for the out. Former Gold Glove infielder Placido Polanco. Speaking of Gold Gloves, Carlos Gomez looks like he might be on his way to one, but his offensive numbers have been impressive this year.
Picking up right where he did in the second half last year. I mean, had a so-so first half, in and out of the lineup. They gave him a job in center last year, and has not disappointed this year. He's got those 4 home runs that he took away this year so far, and the offense has been incredible. So many ways that he and Segura can help you win games. It's been a rough year for the Brewers, no doubt, but those 2 guys have been a lot of fun to watch.
Gomez trying to fight his way out of a slump at the plate right now. And he goes, unable to check his swing, makes it no balls and 2 strikes on Gomez, who is 0 for 2 tonight and has stranded 4 base runners tonight.
It looks like he went on the slider in the dirt.
Gomez into left field, fair or foul. That is a fair ball, home run for Gomez on an 0-2 pitch. Bernie hits the slide, and the Brewers take a 2-0 lead.
Well, some guys like to be patient at the plate. They're trying to get themselves out of a hitting slump, but Carlos Gomez is going to swing his way out of it on an 0-2 pitch. Look at a hanging breaking pitch. And he knocked it way back and left, just inside that foul pole. And it was a curveball. And it hung. And Gomez banged it out of here. So 2 home runs given up by Turner tonight. Wraps around that foul pole.
Well, impressive that Gomez was able to keep that ball fair. Barely had a hook on it. And Gomez delivers home run number 15 of the season. Francisco hit one to lead off the 4th. Gomez comes on an 0-2 pitch with 2 outs in the 5th. Oh, those are backbreakers for a pitcher. 2-out home runs are one thing, but 2 strike 2-out home runs another.
And I tell you, Mathis, called the curveball. Not sure if he went to it right away, but he wanted that ball in the dirt. You know that. But boy, that curveball is such an easy pitch to make a mistake with. 80 miles an hour, got a lot of break on it, and he hung it, and he paid for it.
Francisco had an opposite field home run in the 4th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he is in our AT&T U-verse rewind. We take you back, leading off the 4th inning, and even though it was deep in the box, strong enough to muscle it out up into the Loge level in left field.
Didn't even get good extension on that ball. That should teach you something, right, as a hitter. No weight on it. Still strong enough to knock it out of here to the opposite field.
Time is asked for and granted by Francisco. Yeah, you hear hitters talk all the time, the little mental notes, stay back, let the ball travel. That's what they're talking about. Let it get back into their stance a little bit. And then it's a flick of the wrist. And for Juan Francisco, that's what the Brewers have been trying to convince him of. It doesn't take much for him to hit one out. He's strong enough to do it even without a big swing. So cut down the swing a little bit.
You cut down the swing, cut down on the strikeouts if you can. But you can put up with the strikeouts when you have home run potential like Juan Francisco.
Pitch counted 93 for Turner. 3-2. Francisco fouls another one off. Gotta give the Brewers a lot of credit tonight. They have got themselves into deep counts. Turner has not been able to be so efficient tonight, and he's coming up against the end of the line on a pitch count. This is an arm that the Marlins do protect. Won't see him go over 100 very often as he strikes out Francisco. He has 6 Ks, Turner, but he's given up 2 home runs, and Gomez gets him on an 0-2 pitch. 2-0 Brew Crew. We're headed to the 6th at Miller Park. Presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Beautiful night in Brewtown. Got a few clouds up there brewing, but so far so good tonight. On a warm night in Milwaukee, the Brewers have a 2-0 lead. Loesch has a shutout through 5. He's working on a 4-hitter. And he's hoping to carry it forward tonight. This is about when the trouble began for him in his last start against the Diamondbacks. As a matter of fact, Loesch retired the first 14 batters he faced in that game against Arizona. Pitched into the 5th inning before allowing his first hit. And then things unraveled for him a little bit. The Diamondbacks had 3 home runs in that game, and Loesch ended up with a loss and 5 earned runs. And he wondered after the game where it went so fast.
It did. It happened quickly, didn't it?
Oh, 2 to Polanco. Just inside.
When you rely on command, you don't overpower anybody. You rely on those off-speed pitches, off the outside corner, the curveball, and you're going to make mistakes. And that's the issue that Loesch has had, of anything, keeping the ball in the ballpark this year.
Ground ball out to Segura. And there's the first out. Well, our shining moment, brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic, is Kyle Loesch. The body of work from Kyle Loesch so far as we play into the 6th inning.
Yeah, he's been good with men on base. 2nd inning, couple of men on. He got out of the inning, and a really good inning that he had. And leadoff hitter Echeverria ended up at second base with nobody out, and he was able to retire the side with no runs across and struck out a couple of batters. No walks, 5 strikeouts. Kyle Loesch continues to throw a lot of strikes.
Here's Giancarlo Stanton, just how you want him at the plate with nobody on. Stanton tonight is 0 for 2. Hit a long fly ball out to center field in the 1st inning, and then Loesch struck him out in the 3rd. Stanton just 23 years of age, part of that young nucleus for the Marlins, but he's already in his 4th year in the big leagues. Was an all-star last year for the first time. He led all of baseball in slugging percentage last year. .608 was his slugging percentage. Had an OPS of .969. So he gets on base a lot, typically around the .350 range on base. It's a hot one to Bianchi, makes a diving catch. Wow. Backhanded stab by Bianchi, robbing Stanton of extra bases.
And look at the reactions by Bianchi, able to go down and get that line drive that was hooking away from him. Giancarlo Stanton picking on a curveball, and Jeff Bianchi taking away extra bases. Stanton saying, what do I have to do to get a base hit? Wow. Hit that one right on the nose.
Stanton is 0 for 3 against Loesch. 2 outs in the 6th, and here is Logan Morrison.
You talk about just raw strength, with hitters. I mean, you have 2 guys in this game today that are about as strong, as any 2 hitters in baseball. Stanton and Francisco. Don't have to get good extension to hit home runs. It's just a matter of making contact.
Logan Morrison with 2 away. He's 0 for 2 tonight. And that ball's hit high in the air, right field. It's got some hook on it. And it is a foul ball. Long foul ball. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Morrison. And unlike Gomez, Morrison wasn't able to keep that one fair. That was close.
You see it doesn't disappear behind that foul pole. That means it is a foul ball.
Yeah, good camera work. As they say, it got small fast. That means he hit it hard and far.
And he supplied all of his power, right? Not much on that fastball. Hit it pretty well.
There's a backdoor cutter that missed. 2-2 the count. Morrison has dealt with back problems, had the knee injury, knee surgery this offseason that had him on the shelf to start the year. He did not return until the first week of June. And an injury-plagued season for him. Loesch tries another one out there. He missed. 3-2 now. Full count, 2 outs. And Morrison pulls it foul. Count remains 3-2. Morrison was activated on June 8th, and then Giancarlo Stanton 2 days later. They got 2 big bats back in their lineup in early June, and that's one of the reasons why the Marlins were 15-10 in the month of June. And they lost 2 out of 3 to the Brewers in that series. As a matter of fact, Mike Redmond's club since May 31st, one of the better records in all of baseball. After a 13-41 start since May 31st, 22-17. And all 5 of those games over 500 being accrued in the month of June. Brewers have had just 1 month over 500. That was April. They were 14-11. And both of these clubs got into a big hole in May. Identical records in the month of May for the Brewers and the Marlins of 6-22. And that's the month that has had them looking up all season long.
Yeah, it's tough to dig your way out of that hole right there. 6-22.
Here's pitch number 9 from Loesch. Morrison sends it out to Gomez at the track near the wall. He leaps and it's in and out of his glove. And Morrison is into second base.
Relatively easy catch for Gomez, and you can see him looking up and should have had it. You don't see that from Carlos Gomez. He has it timed out, does everything but catch it. And I got to believe that's going to be an error on Gomez. He had that one measured all the way, and relatively easy catch. Didn't even have to jump.
That's certainly a ball that Gomez should have caught. And it's going to go for 2 bases for Morrison. So just as Loesch was ready to get out of the inning, now he'll have to deal with the potential tying run coming up in Marcell Ozuna. Brewers have already committed an error tonight. That was Aoki back in the 5th. The Marlins center fielder Ozuna now, who is 0 for 2 against Loesch. This is going to be scored officially as a 2-base hit for Morrison. So a double to left center. And I'm sure Morrison will take it.
Yes, he will. That's a gift.
Ozuna takes a strike. That's the pitch that struck him out in the 2nd inning. That slider on the corner. Pitch counted 102 for Loesch. Could be his last hitter faced. Loesch's spot in the batting order due up 3rd.
Which is why Ron Renneke would love to see him get through this inning. You got a left-hander on deck. And John Axford getting ready.
think they found the pitch for Ozuna for the time being.
I'd say that's a good one, though. I mean, he's throwing a good slider tonight. That's one of the better ones he's thrown. He usually throws the cutter, but that's more the slider, 84 miles an hour.
Rookie outfielder. He played in just 10 games in his career above Single-A prior to his call up to the big leagues. And the 2-1 hit in the air to center field. Gomez squares this one up. Two hands, he makes a catch. And the inning ends as Loesch pitches around it. 2-0 Brewers. We're on our way to the bottom of the sixth.
Here at Miller Park as we head to the bottom of the sixth inning. At Miller Park, every Friday is a $15 Fair Friday. Get one Terrace Reserve ticket to any Friday Brewers game and one general admission ticket to the Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular. That's for just $15. Visit Brewers.com/State Fair for details.
How would Loesch Spad do up third in this inning, assuming he's coming out by those handshakes? His final line looks like that. 6 shutout innings, and now you can put together a string of 10 consecutive starts for Loesch, and pretty good numbers during that stretch. And you throw out his last start in Arizona, and you're talking about some spectacular numbers.
Yeah, he's been outstanding ever since coming off the DL. He actually didn't go on the DL. They missed a start. He got roughed up against the Twins, and ever since that start, he has been spot on with his pitches and putting together some pretty good outings.
Meanwhile, Jacob Turner continues. His pitch count is nearing 100, and he pitches in this inning with activity in his bullpen. So I would imagine any sign of trouble, a base runner perhaps, and Turner's coming out. I like the fact that Redmond is leaving him out here, though. I mean, you're always trying to get your starting pitcher in a position to win a game. He cannot win this game unless his team gets back up to the plate, and he's still the pitcher of record. It hasn't been too often where he has gone more than 100 pitches in a start this year.
Yeah, 3 times. Last time out, 110 pitches against the Braves. Pitched well, 2 runs in 7 innings. Picked up a win.
He went the distance at the end of June against San Diego. 9 innings, 1 run through 111 pitches that day. And impressively, 77 of those 111 pitches were strikes. That's been his best game of his big league career. He's never given up more than 4 earned runs in a start. That happened just once against the Cardinals. That was in a loss. That was his first loss, actually. 3-1 record, 2.33 earned run average. His 9th start this season. And he hits Weeks on a 3-2 pitch.
That breaking ball again. He's made some mistakes with that pitch tonight.
Four walks and a hit batter on a breaking ball that didn't break.
Back of the arm, right on the tricep. That's the 8th time Ricky's been hit by a pitch this year. Although if you're going to get hit by a pitch, curveball is a good pitch to get hit by.
And with a little body armor on, it's all good. I think Redmond, the manager, sent the catcher out. They might be trying to buy a little time here. And Redmond is on his way. So Turner's night is coming to an end. Redmond gave him a shot to get to a clean inning. He hits Ricky Weeks. And with the right-hander Bianchi set to hit, Redmond will make the call to his bullpen. And we'll set up the new hurler when we continue. Pitching change here at Miller Park. Make the change. Bianchi and Halton coming up. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Don't forget, we're back at it tomorrow, an hour earlier. 5:30 is airtime here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Nathan Eovaldi, former Dodger, against Giovanni Gallardo. A couple of Texans going at it tomorrow night here at Miller Park. Gallardo looking for a second half surge. Rockets going to be Ryan Webb, first man out of the bullpen for Redmond.
Yep, a 314 earned run average. 41st appearance, last pitched on the 13th against the Nationals, pitched a scoreless inning. Brewers have knocked him around pretty good in his career. 11 games, he's given up 10 runs in 10 2/3 innings, has Ryan Webb. So a hard thrower. And nobody out and a man at first base, but the bottom of the Brewers order coming up.
Kyle Lohse is done after 6 innings. Turner goes 5+. Lohse 6 shutout on 5 hits. Right now Turner has allowed 2 earned runs. Ricky Weeks still at first base, his responsibility as the Yankees steps in. Always looking to swing the bat early in a count. As a matter of fact, his single in the 2nd inning came on a first pitch. Weeks has a stolen base tonight. Stole second back in the 4th inning. Brewers have 4 steals tonight. 3 of those came in the 1st.
They must have had something, some type of a key off of Jacob Turner that was very successful for him. Because you just don't run on Jeff Mathis like that ordinarily. That's something that Ed Cedar does religiously. He watches moves from the pitchers, the starters, the relievers, tries to pick up something that they do to tip off whether they're going to first base or home plate. And apparently they had something on Turner.
Bianchi, a shortstop by trade, turned himself into a super utility man. You're just a utility man until you can play the outfield too. When you can start playing the infield and the outfield and catch, now you're a super utility man. It's like a comic book hero. There goes Weeks. Bianchi with a ground ball right side, diving stop Dietrich, and throws him out at first. Nice play by the Marlins second baseman.
Yeah, too bad for Bianchi. That was a nice hit and run. He tried to shoot that hole between first and second, just couldn't get it out of the reach of Dietrich, who was headed towards second base. But Bianchi able to advance the base runner. That's a nice play at second. Dietrich with only 2 errors this year. Talked about up the middle being good for the Marlins. Echeverria 6 errors at short. Dietrich 2 at second base.
And Dietrich, a converted shortstop, gives you a lot of range and a big arm out there. So here's Sean Halton pinch hitting. He has 9 hits this year in his first year in the big leagues. 2 of those have come as a pinch hitter. He's 2 for 5. His first major league hit came as a pinch hitter against Matt Garza of the Cubs, who doesn't figure to be a Cub much longer. And a lot of trade winds circulating about Garza. And it was interesting that Halton and Garza, both from Fresno, know each other very well. Good friends, actually. Halton's at bat officially closes the book on Kyle Lohse. He's got a chance to win tonight. Brewers lead 2-0, threatening for more here with 1 out. Little half swing roller foul, and the count remains at 0-2. See the numbers on Lohse. 6 shutout innings. Marlins had 2 on in the second inning with 2 outs. He got out of that mess.
And a mouse under his eye.
Yeah, that's from an attempted bunt that bounced on the ground, hit him in the cheekbone. And then he says, "You should have seen the other guy."
Right. I could have been champ. Need Freddie Pacheco down there.
I know it.
Ice him up a little bit.
I think they did a pretty good job. That was starting to swell up a little bit. On a hot night. A good shock to the cheekbone will do that.
Yeah.
Halton is granted timeout. Big Sean Halton. And his first career home run just before the Brewers left on the last road trip here at Miller Park. He's been a power hitter in the minor leagues throughout his career.
Tough to elevate the baseball off of Ryan Webb, another sinker baller. Keeps the ball on the ground. He gets a lot of double play balls.
Two and two. And Halton goes. Wow. I don't know about that, Larry Vanover. That was a tough call. Halton is rung up, unable to check his swing. Yeah, looks pretty close.
Yeah. He's ringing them all up as Larry Vanover, and could have gone either way.
Oh, Kyle Loesch, how about his night tonight? 6 shutout innings, puts himself with a chance to win.
Another outstanding start for Kyle Loesch. And Ron Renicky electing to go with Loesch out of this All-Star break. And it's his regular day, 5th day, and they give Gallardo an extra.
Gallardo tomorrow, and then Peralta Sunday. Looks like Renicki's going to stick with Tom Gorzelani and Donovan Hand in the starting rotation for the time being.
Well, those have been the most effective guys out there. Well, Willie Peralta's been outstanding, hasn't he? Man.
Yeah, he's found it. He's found a new gear.
Gorzelani's been throwing well. Donovan Hand, yeah, why not?
Two outs, and Ryan Webb facing Aoki. Webb coming out of the bullpen. And a ground out. Nice play by Dietrich for the first out, and a strikeout to Halton. Brewers have Marco Estrada and Alfredo Figueroa on the disabled list. Estrada is not going to be back for a while. It's probably going to be deep into August. He has to start all over. The hamstring injury first, then a back injury. Figueroa most likely will come back in a week or two, maybe a week to 10 days. He'll come back into the bullpen, though. So it's not urgent to get him stretched out like you would a starting pitcher. And so for the time being, that means Donovan Hand and Tom Gorzelani have rotation spots. Theirs to keep. Ryan Webb trying to strand a runner at second. The Brewers do not have a hit with a runner in scoring position tonight. The 2 runs that are on the board were courtesy of the home run ball. Francisco and Gomez. Aoki somehow makes contact and fouls it away.
And picked it right out of the glove of Jeff Mathis. You wonder how you can foul balls off between the plate and the third base dugout. That's how you do it. The ability to make contact, put the bat on the ball, foul it off, and live to see another pitch.
Full count to Aoki. Weeks has a big lead at second. And that ball's in the air left field. On the way back is Ruggiano for the out. Fair territory to win the inning. Brewers strand another one in scoring position. They still lead 2-0. We head to the 7th. Toyota, Kyle Lohse, big part of the story tonight. 6 shutout innings, 5 strikeouts. Beat the Marlins 3 times last year, has a chance to win tonight. Juan Francisco with a home run, the first score of the game. That was an opposite field homer in the 4th inning to lead off. And then Gomez on an 0-2 count with 2 outs in the inning in the 5th. Just inside the foul pole. A home run for Gomez, his club leading 15th. And it's 2-0. Ryan Braun is out. And Logan Schaefer is in. They're still trying to ease Braun back into game condition. Braun was 0 for 3. Played 6 innings of defense. And Schaefer takes over for him. John Axford on the mound for Kyle Lohse.
47th appearance for the Axeman. You can see the strikeouts, 40 of them in 38 2/3 innings. 372 earned run average. Boy, has he pitched well to get that earned run average down to below 4. And he suffered a blown save his last time out at Arizona, allowing 2 inherited runners to score. John Axford, after a rough start to the season, has been throwing the baseball well.
First man up is Derek Dietrich. He's 0 for 2 tonight. This guy has big power. We've seen what he can do defensively, but he can hit them a long way, and he showed that against the Brewers in Miami. That is a powerful, quick stroke. From the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech. And a fast rise to the big leagues. Traded from the Tampa Bay Rays to the Marlins. Axford ahead in the count. And he got him. Fastball upstairs. Dietrich strikes out. Out number 1 for John Axford and his first strikeout. Don't forget our Brewers Live postgame show coming your way. Greg Kashaw, Jerry Augustine tonight, and our live postgame instructional tonight. What's on the menu tonight, partner?
Well, it's not a live one, I'm sorry to say. It's hitting drills with Johnny Nairn. Talking about Johnny Nairn, and then Logan Schaefer going through some of the drills that they go through, during the season before the games. It is a 3-part series. If you didn't see it before, it's worth the wait.
So tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday, or are you going to spread them out one a month?
I think they're most effective when you do them back to back to back.
Right? Because then you can just remember from each day.
Right, so you don't have to start over.
Well, that
again.
makes sense. We'll let the TV people do what they do best, right?
Well, those have become very popular, doing taping some instructionals, before games and running those with the coaches and the players getting involved. And I know I did some with John Shelby, working with some kids in the batting cage, giving them some tips, some things that the kids can work on. Jerry Augustine worked with Lee Tunnell, on some pitching drills down in the Brewers bullpen with some kids.
There's John Shelby, assistant hitting coach. He and Johnny Nairn handle all the hitters. Both very good teachers. And what great coaches do, what all great coaches do, they build in a little positive psychology in with their mechanics and the teaching of mechanics. You walk away from both of those guys thinking, man, I could actually run through that wall. There's Lee Tunnell, a pitching guru in his own right, longtime pitching coordinator in the Brewers minor league system. Now in his 2nd year as the bullpen coach, former big leaguer, and had a lot to do with John Axford emerging as a major league prospect, and had a lot to do with Axford's turnaround last year.
Yeah. He's worked with a lot of guys that are currently on this Brewers pitching staff down in the minor leagues.
Axford gives Tunnell a lot of credit for his turnaround. Some mechanical fixes that turned him into a guy who threw 93, 94 to a guy who threw 97, 98. Tunnell always thought that Axford had a few more miles an hour in his delivery because he's 6'6", and he made a few changes.
It's all about the mechanics. I mean, throwing strikes, velocity, that's what it's all about.
Echeverria hanging tough against Axford. Count remains at 3-2. Our text question tonight, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming. Don in Waukesha wants to know, are there any spots left for 2014 fantasy camp?
Oh yeah, we got some spots. We're doing well with registration. It's about the hot time of the year for fantasy camp signups. We have our annual reunion weekend coming up, August 1st and 2nd. August 1st is a day off for the Brewers, and we have our day where we get on the field at Miller Park and play a game.
Ah, there it is. Oh, so you can register now, not for the game on the 1st, but for fantasy camp, 2014 fantasy camp, which then gets you entry into the 2014 game at Miller Park.
We've got some registration incentives that you can learn about if you make that call.
And another base hit. Echeverria is wearing out right field tonight. That's his 3rd hit. He's 3 for 3, and all of them have come to that spot. Tell you what, this guy's turned a corner at the plate in a big way. He's having a great month. He's hitting near 450 in the month of July.
All-Star break didn't affect him, did it? 4 days off, and he's still swinging the bat well. 4-seam fastball, and he takes that 3-2 pitch to the opposite field. A long at bat won by Echeverria on pitch number 9.
How about his month? 24 hits, 54 at bats, 444 batting average.
And doing most of that damage to the opposite field.
Here's Jeff Mathis now. Big curveball for a strike. Mathis singled to left in the 2nd inning. Oh, and 2. Axford was very upset with himself after his last outing, which was Kyle Loesch's last start. Did not retire a batter. He walked 2 and gave up a hit. And gave up a couple of Kyle Loesch's runs. And technically a blown save for Axford.
And that's something that Axford doesn't do a whole lot of. The inherited runners. He's given up a few of them lately, but he's only allowed 3 of 13 this year. Inherited runners to score.
And his two of his last 4 outings, he's given up inherited runners, but did not allow an inherited runner to score until July 8th. Even early in the season when he was struggling, those were innings that he started with a blank inning, a clean inning. Had some blown saves in there, but he's really been pitching well. And as far as his own earned run average, and ERA is sometimes tough to gauge for a reliever, but he's been unscored upon in 27 of 28 appearances. Off the end of the bat, out to Gomez in center field for out number 2. You always have to take relievers ERA with some context. I think it does apply to John Axford because most of his innings are innings that he starts.
Right.
So he's not getting a lot of mid-inning appearances. As Rick Kranitz is on his way out.
Scouting report on Greg Dobbs, a pinch hitter.
Fastball in, breaking ball away, right?
keep the ball down. He has some pop. Only has 2 home runs, but he's always been a very good pinch hitter.
Dobbs, one of those veteran players, trying to keep everybody in line at the big league level. He's a bat that I thought and still think that the Marlins might consider trading away. There'll be a lot of teams looking for a guy like Greg Dobbs at the trade deadline. This guy can still hit, man. He's 4 for 19 as a pinch hitter this year and has 10 career pinch hit home runs. He was at his best when he was a member of the Phillies. Actually led the National League in pinch hits one season.
And you would think that a contending team would want to pick up a guy like Greg Dobbs. Come off the bench and come up with a big hit. Not going to start much. Most of your good teams, particularly National League teams, have very good pinch hitters, at least the ones that end up going to the postseason.
Dobbs is in the final year of his contract. You could see that happening.
That fastball up and away, and Dobbs waves at it. And doesn't often swing at a pitch out of the strike zone.
Axford knows he's got to be careful. 2 outs in the inning, tying run at the plate. And Dobbs lays off. And that's why he's been such a good pinch hitter. He can come up just one time a game and take pitches like that. He has a great eye. Takes a lot of discipline to do what he's done in his career. And not a lot of guys can do it. And you figure Dobbs is going to hang around a long time because he can do it.
I remember when the Brewers had Lenny Harris here, one of the best pinch hitters of all time, if not the best. And he was a guy that routinely would come up with big pinch hits. Got to know when to be patient and know when to be aggressive coming off that bench as a pinch hitter.
3 balls and a strike. Dobbs bounces one out to second. Tough hop for Weeks, and he throws on the run. And Axford puts up a 0 in the 7th. Stretch time at Miller Park. The Brewers 2, the Marlins 0.
If you come out to Miller Park and get your very own Carlos Gomez All-Star jersey, and why not? He has been an All-Star the first half, went out to New York, had a great time, along with his teammate Jean Segura. And so the first half it was rough going for the Crew, but plenty of highlights, things to look forward to, and maybe they'll carry over here to the second half. So tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll, we asked Brewers fans which first half highlight is most important for the second half. Split results, 32% said the bullpen, and even 26% went with both Gomez and Segura and the debuts of many young players. And virtually all of these storylines tonight, BA, have played out here tonight. Gomez with a solo home run, Loesch, 6 scoreless innings. The bullpen so far has been great. And Francisco, one of the guys who made his debut, is also putting up a solo home run. So the Crew off to a good start here.
Yep, and good to hear from everyone tonight on our AT&T Twitter poll. Thank you, Sophia. 2-0 Brewers on our way to the bottom of the 7th inning, and the bullpen for the Brewers will be on display trying to go the final 3 innings. Axford held serve in the 7th, works a scoreless inning. Gene Segura leads off. Miami has a new pitcher on the mound, A.J. Ramos, to face Segura after Ryan Webb pitched a scoreless inning and was able to strand a base runner left by Turner. And the numbers on A.J. Ramos this year, his 39th appearance.
Yeah, ranks amongst all National League relievers in innings pitched and strikeouts. 48 punch outs in just about 48 innings of work. A nice earned run average at about 3.5.
Segura, Schaefer, and then Lucroy. Braun is out of the game. And Segura chases one. Very uncharacteristic of Segura tonight. He has twice struck out on pitches down and away. Normally very patient at the plate. He's 1 for 4. Ramos with a strikeout, and how to bring up Schaefer now. Logan Schaefer had a milestone home run on the last, against Arizona. His second career home run after his first home run on the last homestand, and for the second consecutive trip around the bases, he ended up in the dugout to the silent treatment. I wonder if that's going to be his thing. Every time he homers, he gets the silent treatment.
I'm sure he's hoping that he gets a lot of that then. It's like walking in the front door after a day at work, get the silent treatment.
Nobody's saying a word. That's awesome.
And after a while, they go up there and they give him the high fives and give him the pats on the back. And kind of a tradition in baseball where you do that. I remember Albert Pujols got that last year. He went a long stretch without hitting a home run for the Angels. They gave him the silent treatment. Those are the times you get the silent treatment, maybe on your first home run, but very rarely do you get one on your second home run.
Right. I think it just works so well, and you have to be leading in the game, right? So the environment was right for him.
Yeah, you can't be messing around in the dugout when you're losing.
So if he hits one out here,
could
50-50 that he gets the silent treatment again. He's going to walk. So a 1-out walk. Yeah, this went on for a while. This is in real time, and then they finally came together and said, way to go. Good laughs. Still a game.
Yeah. Boys will be boys, right?
Like an entire walk transpired. Lucroy at the plate tonight, presented by Wendy's. Actually stole a base tonight on the back end of a double steal, but the throw went to second base where he was headed. Just his 3rd steal of the season. The Brewers with 4 stolen bases tonight. Lucroy has a hit and a walk. 1 for 2. Two solo home runs tonight, Francisco and Gomez. In the air, shallow right. Stanton for the out. 2 gone in the inning.
Oh, almost had a nice fastball. 94. He's got some giddy up on it. A little movement late. He got Segura on a good slider.
Well, Carlos Gomez trying to fight his way out of a slump, and on an 0-2 pitch, he found one he could handle and launched it into the Lowe's level in left field. club leading 15th home run of the season. That gave the Brewers a 2-0 lead. And you know, that'll get the confidence rolling a little bit for Gomez. Snap throw to first, close over there. Schaefer is back. Might see Gomez, or rather Schaefer, try to steal with Gomez at the plate. Even if he's thrown out, not a bad guy to have lead off the next inning.
Yeah, Brewers have had good jumps tonight. Ramos a little bit quicker to home plate than first two.
There he goes. Gomez swings. Fouls it out of play.
Decent lead, great jump, and I don't think Mathis would have had a shot. Ramos went with a high leg kick. Schaefer took off. He would have made it easily.
Back to the heat. Schaefer stays put. Gomez lashes one foul. 1-2 now. All the baseball back in action tonight after a 4-day All-Star break. .94 games into the half for the Brewers. They have one game to make up in the second half. That'll be at Wrigley Field on July 30th. That'll be a doubleheader.
Next road trip. Split doubleheader.
Where else would you rather be? Wrigley Field.
Right.
For two.
What is it, 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock?
Yep. 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock. We got to figure out. Maybe we'll have to skip over to a rooftop between games of the doubleheader. We always have a bunch of friends from Wisconsin who come down, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that they'd give us a burger or two.
Talk to your people, Rock. Not that we're inviting ourselves, but anybody out there who's on a rooftop on July 30th, you know, we're available.
Give me a call.
Rock will be having his burger without the bun.
And the brat.
No bun on the brat either. Check on Schaefer. Do have some finals in, a bunch of finals actually. In the Central Division, the Reds beat the Pirates tonight at home. Mike Leake won again. I'll tell you, Mike Leake is having a great year. That was his 9th win of the season. He's 9-4 with a 2.79 ERA.
Yeah, in that ballpark. Great American ballpark.
So Cincinnati up into Pittsburgh. Cardinals lead the Padres 9-3. They're at home tonight. They're in the 8th inning. St. Louis a game up on the Pirates. There's a called strike 3. Gomez is rung up and the inning ends. To the 8th we go. 2-0 Brewers. Juan Francisco in the 4th, Carlos Gomez in the 5th, and we're headed to the 8th now. Our Subway in-game box score. There's what has been going on tonight for the Brewers offensively. Those 2 home runs from the 5 and 6 hitter in the batting order. Jonathan Lucroy continues his hitting ways. Had a hit tonight. Segura 1 for 4. Ryan Braun was 0 for 3. See, Schaefer ended up in Braun's spot. Schaefer drew a walk at his first and only at bat of the night. So here we go to the 8th, and it's going to be Jim Henderson. And he's trying to get himself corrected on the mound. It's been some mechanical flaws for Henderson as of late.
Yeah, retired the only batter they faced on Sunday against the Diamondbacks, but he has had some control issues, walking some batters. And Henderson in the 8th, and Frankie Rodriguez in the 9th. But all about the pitching tonight. You wonder if it's the good pitching or the rusty bats for these offenses. 4 days off for most of them. Brewers did have an optional workout last night.
Yeah, and just about everybody showed up.
But 4 days without swinging a bat against live pitching, it's going to take them a while, I bet.
Now, it's such a game of routine, and these guys get into the routine every day. The same thing, the same swing, and the multiple swings of batting practice off the tee or whatever they're doing to get ready for a game. You just hit and hit and hit. It's amazing how many swings a day that Major League Baseball players take, or any professional baseball player.
You go in the cage before batting practice. You go in the cage right before the game. You take your swings during the game, and you're right. It's a game of routine. A lot of these guys, they took off after the Arizona series, went back home for a few days. And
Ruggiano lifts one high in the air to right. That's playable. Aoki makes a catch for out number 1. If you ever shake hands with a major league hitter, you'll know immediately. Strong hands, the grip, the calluses on the hands. It's all about that muscle memory, and the more you do it, and you really, to play at this level, you can't really have major flaws in your swing. It just, first of all, your body won't hold up, and so you've got to groove that swing just right. Charlie Manuel used to always talk about that. He said he didn't become a good hitter, even really understand the art of hitting, until he went to Japan, and he just swung the bat hundreds of times every day. It's like a marathon run, and then you kind of find your mechanics in that. I think that's been the biggest challenge with Ryan Braun trying to come back. And one of the reasons why I went ahead and decided to shut it down and go on the DL, because you can't do the things you normally do to get ready for a game. And then when you can't do that, how effective can you be as a hitter? Ryan always said, I can stand up there and try to hit singles to right field and probably have some success. I mean, he'd hit 300 easy.
Right.
But he's not the kind of threat without the ability to hit the long ball and add some slugging percentage to it.
And with this kind of injury, I mean, he had to change his grip. He had to change the feel of the bat. He had a pad on the bat, and those are the kind of things that can throw you off. And when you go up there at the plate, everything that you do up there has to be routine. It's got to be to a point where you don't think about it. Your swing is something that's natural. You don't think about where your hands are, where your feet are. You think about one thing in a baseball. That's what you think about. The swing has to be, and the comparison that I heard one time, I forget who it was. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. I mean, you do it the same way every single day, but do you think about what you're doing? That's what you call a routine, a habit. You don't think about it. That's assuming you brush your teeth.
Yeah. Now you're going to have me thinking about it tonight.
I guarantee you do it the same way. The brush strokes are the same every time you brush your teeth.
If you change it up, it would just be odd.
But it's just subconscious. I mean, that's the way hitting has to be. Your swing.
Henderson back in the count, 3-2 on Polanco. Fly ball right field. Aoki right there for out number 2.
Is he positioned well or what? They come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the San Diego Padres in a 4-game set this Monday through Thursday. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com.
Looking forward to seeing the Padres. One of our favorite broadcasters around the league, Mark Grant. He's always good for some laughs. Mud.
Oh, yeah. I get texts from Mud once in a while.
It makes me laugh just thinking about some of the things that he says and does.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Stanton with 2 outs. Stanton is batting for the 4th time. Only once has he been at the plate with a runner on base. Brewers have done a good job at the top of the order. Ruggiano and Polanco combined 1 for 8 tonight. 0-2 pitch. Stanton swings and misses. Down he goes as Jim Henderson. A 1-2-3 inning with a punch out. Axford in the 7th. Henderson in the 8th. Still 2-0 Brewers. It's been a night of great pitching and some home run balls tonight as Gomez and Francisco have put the tallies on the board for the Brewers. Loesch went 6 shutout. Axford and Henderson with scoreless innings as well. And here we go to the Brewer half of the 8th inning. Dan Jennings, the left-hander, is on the pitch with Juan Francisco, the lefty, leading off for Milwaukee.
Well, last pitch on the 14th against the Nationals, a third of an inning, gave up a hit. And 4 of his last 5 appearances have been scoreless. Jennings overall 23rd appearance and a .332 earned run average, one of 2 left-handers down in that Marlins bullpen.
And it looks like this is going to be Jennings' inning here. The bullpen is empty. And a couple of right-handers coming up, Weeks and Bianchi. Francisco hit his 12th homer of the year in the 4th inning. 7 of those 12 have come as a Brewer. The first 5 as a member of the Atlanta Braves. Opposite field shot for Juan Francisco. Didn't look like much off the bat, but it had a lot of carry to it.
Yes, it did. Very strong Juan Francisco.
Scary bat speed, this guy. Tell you, when he's taking batting practice, you know it. You don't even have to see it. You can hear it. Very few players make the kind of sound he does. Ryan Braun's one of them. Prince Fielder, Ricky Weeks. I mean, when the big boys start launching balls in BP,
yeah,
everybody just kind of stops down. Ooh, big fastball in there for a strike. I think it surprised him. 2-2 the count.
Fastball, 92 miles an hour. Inner half.
And he backs it up with a breaking ball in there for a called strike 3. Good sequence of pitching by Jennings.
That's what you call a hanging slider and fooled Francisco. Well, he took the fastball. It looked like he had a lot of the plate. Thinking that he's looking breaking ball. Got the breaking ball and took that.
He had him all flummoxed.
Jennings got away with a couple of very hittable pitches right there. Got him what?
Flummoxed.
Confused. Disoriented.
Kind of like you right now.
Trying to figure out what that big word is. Couldn't you have waited for the second game after the break?
Yeah, you're just settling in, right?
I mean, easy. 10 o'clock at night.
Did you get into the thesaurus at all during the All-Star break?
No, I did not. I did not open a book, newspaper.
Didn't you do your homework, huh?
Did
no
not.
reading, like Edgar Martinez used to say. No reading.
No.
Hard on the eyes.
I did a lot of nothing. Watch the All-Star game, though.
Yeah. Speaking of a lot of nothing, not a whole lot going on at the All-Star game.
Right.
It's fun to see, though. You know what's great to see? We talk about this all the time, but it's fun to see all the great young talent that's starting to emerge, and that's the trend in baseball. Young stars.
Yeah.
You had a 20-year-old Bryce Harper, 21-year-old Manny Machado. Fernandez here, the Marlins, he's just 20 years old. I mean, there are a lot of young guys who are already All-Stars. Bryce Harper's been an All-Star twice.
Yeah.
Mike Trout is a 2-time All-Star. Game is in great shape.
Yep, it is becoming a young man's game more and more every year. Guys coming up quicker.
Two and two to Weeks. And that's on the corner, called strike 3. Back-to-back Ks for Dan Jennings.
Yep, 93 right on the corner, too close to take for Ricky Weeks. Jennings with that arm angle, that high 3/4, catches the outside edge.
Here's Bianchi now with 2 outs. Bianchi is 1 for 3. Robbed of the hit his last time up. Took a very good play by Dietrich at second base. Looking ahead to the Marlins' 9th. We've got the middle of their order coming up. Morrison, Ozuna, and Dietrich. Frankie Rodriguez getting ready for a save opportunity. There's K-Rod. 9 for 9 in save chances this year. Been a lot of trade rumors swirling around Francisco Rodriguez as well. That is a very valuable piece in that Brewers bullpen. Trade deadline at the end of the month. 2-2 on Bianchi. Full count. If Bianchi should reach, you'd have a pinch hitter next. Uni Betancourt already on deck. I saw where the Rays and the Dodgers both won tonight. Two of the hottest teams going right now. So both the Rays and the Dodgers have won 18 of their last 23 games. Red hot, zooming up their respective divisions.
How about the Dodgers, right?
Dodgers made up 8 games in a month in the National League West. They went from the cellar to second place. They're still sitting behind the Diamondbacks. 2.5 back to start play today.
Yeah, they're at 500 all of a sudden.
Full count to Bianchi. Fouls another one off. What an at bat here for Jeff Bianchi. There's going to be some fun pennant races to watch. That second wild card really changes things. Keeps a lot of teams in it, and when a lot of teams are in it, you never know. The Braves have the largest division lead in the National League. They're up 6 on the Nationals. Atlanta won tonight. They beat the White Sox 6-4.
And the Phillies are back in that race.
Yeah, they are. Phillies won tonight. Bianchi right back to the mound, and that will do it for the Brewers in the 8th. Last licks coming up for the Marlins. Frankie Rodriguez looking for save number 10.
This game set clearly by Kyle Lohse, the starter. And Jerry, no walks in this game, 6 shutout innings.
Well, you got to like the way he's throwing the ball. It all comes with being able to command that fastball and use his breaking ball. He goes out there for 6 innings, doesn't give up any walks. He's walked just 6 guys, and this is his 9th start for the Brewers at home, doing a great job. Tonight it was all about command.
And the bullpen is followed up with Axford and Henderson, and then it's going to be Francisco Rodriguez set to come in now. Kyle Lohse in line for a victory tonight. And our Columbia St. Mary's save trackers, you take a look at Uni Betancourt taking over first base now, as Francisco Rodriguez going for save number 10 on the season and 304 in his career. Brewers Live coming up after the ball game. Let's send it back to Brian and Bill.
All right, Craig and Augie, thank you. Looking forward to Brewers Live. Kyle Lohse making a run at his 6th victory of the season. It would get him to 6-7, but K-Rod still 3 outs away. Perfect 9 for 9 in save opportunities this season.
It's been outstanding throwing strikes. The big difference between this year and last, the ability to throw all 3 of his pitches for strikes early in the count.
He's got Logan Morrison leading off. And a First pitch strike, and that's something he's done a lot of. He looks like he is back to his 2011 form with the Brewers. He's only 31 years of age. It feels like he's been around forever. But already a ring on his finger from the 0-2 Angels, defeating the Giants that year. He has the single season saves record. He's done a lot. He's in the 300 save club, and I'm not sure he's pitched this well in a few years as he gets Morrison to swing and miss.
Yep, slider for strike, fastball in for a swing and a miss. I mean, ahead in the count. He always seems to be ahead in the count these days. But put away pitch might be a little bit different issue. There's a fastball in on Morrison. Can't get the bat head out.
No balls, 2 strikes. Morrison doubled his last time up. And he pops that one up. Shift was on. Bianchi's got a long way to go, and he'll run it down for the out. Shift put him in a tough spot.
A little banana route that time.
So 1 gone here in the 9th. Jean Segura in our spotlight tonight. And our lows never stop improving. And what a first half it was for Segura. And he's 1 for 4 tonight, trying to build on a great half that led him to the All-Star game. He is the National League hits leader. Also leads the league in infield hits. And he has had an infield hit tonight. Second behind Gomez in triples in the National League. So 1 gone, and here is Ozuna. 0 for 3 tonight. K-Rod coming off a scoreless inning on Sunday against the Diamondbacks. Pitched in the WBC for Venezuela this year and then was left unsigned until mid-April. Facing a rookie outfielder, Ozuna. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ozuna has a very unusual kickstart to his swing.
That was a pretty good fastball right there. 93, right on the corner. Pretty close.
Fresh arm.
Yes, sir.
Ozuna rested on his shoulder and then throws it all the way around his head as he skies out into Aoki. And out number 2.
It makes that swing a little bit long when you do that.
K-Rod trying to make it easy tonight. 2 up, 2 down. Well, he has been on top of his game all season. Picked up his 300th career save on June 22nd against the Braves. Just 25 pitchers in Major League history to have 300 saves. K-Rod is one of them. Marlins down to their last out. Derek Dietrich at the plate. The Brewers were the last team from a pitching perspective to post a shutout. But they have been coming in bunches here lately. With 1 more out, the Brewers will notch their 6th shutout of the season. And a fastball right in there against Dietrich. It would be the 6th shutout since June 15th for Milwaukee. And that one's on the corner. 1-2 to count, and the Marlins down to their last strike now. Crowd of over 30,000 trying to see the second half get started on a high note. Frankie Rodriguez and a 1-2 pitch. Got him. K-Rod strikes him out. Lucroy secures it at first. And the Brewers win. And Rodriguez makes it look easy. 1-2-3 inning. Hit 93 on the gun. Gomez and Francisco with home runs tonight. The Brewers shut out the Marlins 2-0. And Kyle Lohse continues his terrific run. His 6th win tonight. He goes 6 shutout innings. K-Rod save number 304. That ties Jeff Montgomery for 21st all time. And that's how we send it to Craig Kashan. It's time for Brewers Live.
All right, Brian, thanks very much. What a performance by the entire pitching staff here tonight. Jerry Augustine.